Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Rogue Trader with me, Bring It On. Let's head back to Janus and deal with the problems a planet can't handle itself. Not unlike the planet we just left 12 seconds ago. Terrible news from Dargonus, Lord Captain. The subsidiary hive city Scipione, like Scipio Africanus, 84-249, has been destroyed in a series of cascading failures. Production has halted, and millions of people have broken their vows of obedience and are fleeing. Many of them are perishing in the wastelands and overloading the transport lines leading to neighboring hives. The surrounding residential sectors are becoming increasingly agitated by the influx of refugees. What is your directive regarding the distribution of these refugees? What is the cause of the catastrophe? It is still unclear. The noble houses are throwing the blame at one another. Agents of the venerable Achilles Scalander, stationed on Scipione 84-249, have died heroically while trying to save the population from this disaster. Their latest reports mention some vulnerabilities in the industrial sectors of the lower hive, but do not go into further detail. Additionally, all of your servants are currently busy with investigating the causes of the crisis, but are not doing anything to deal with its consequences. What say my advisors? The death of Achilles' agents troubles me. It may not be a coincidence. Until the causes of the disaster can be concretely established, I would avoid letting refugees into other hives. There may be saboteurs among them. I recommend setting up prohibitive cordons, where the refugees can be contained in the wastelands between the hives. The Emperor bids us to face the often cruel strokes of fate with dignity. If the other hives do not wish to accept the unfortunate victims of this tragedy, then let the victims themselves teach those living in the hives a lesson in resilience and humility. I'm sure that the ecclesiarchy will aid the refugees in constructing camps to survive out in the wastelands, and establish a community of proud desert-dwelling martyrs. Such harsh conditions will be a crucible of fortitude and fearlessness, this tragedy a feat of spirit. The noble houses are trying to wash their hands of this. How predictable. And yet, it is their duty to see to it that the planet meets its tithe obligation, and brings glory and revenue to the treasury in your absence. Let the aristocrats take care of the refugees, and make sure they don't stop until every last refugee has some task to fulfill. The roleplay-wise, I think options 4 and 5 are the most fitting, though 3 is not out of place either. This gives us Blood of Scipione 84-249. The Rogue Trader gains +1 deflection and +3% hit chance. Argenta's option gives us +1 efficiency, and Wastelander's Prayer decreases enemy critical damage by 15%. I assume for the whole party. And Heinrich's Bane of Scipione 84-249 grants the Rogue Trader and their allies +2 momentum for each human enemy killed in battle. Pretty solid. So option 4 leans into the faith side of my character, option 5 leans into the military side. I'm gonna go with option 4. Plus it gives us 2 bonuses versus just the 1. Argenta, see to it that the ecclesiarchy would not ignore the laments of the poor. He who dares to remain deaf to the pleas of the destitute shall be branded a traitor to the faith. Large labor settlements were set up around the ruins of Scipione 84-249, to where the refugees from the wastelands and neighboring hives have been rounded up. In the harsh wastelands scorched with industrial poison, with only a bare modicum of food and clean water, the settlement residents began the arduous and dangerous task of rebuilding their fallen home. Many of the ecclesiarchy's priests sought to share in this burden with the poor souls, coming to their villages and preaching to them about the righteousness of hard work. Some pastors have even chosen to stay in the camps permanently, where the desert cults of Aconite martyrs have begun to gather around them, glorifying the Lord Captain for granting them the right to suffer for the glory of the God Emperor. Alright, 3 options here. We have Restoration. A new hive city will be established on top of the ruins of Scipione 84-249. It costs us 1 profit factor. But we get these bonuses for all the colonies and people, which is a very rare resource. Extasiums for the nobility. A palace extasiums will be constructed on top of the ruins of Scipione 84-249 for the aristocracy. The dead and the dying will fertilize the gardens that will ring these pleasure chambers. We're not doing that. That's just inviting Slaanesh. Emporium. Surviving spine of Scipione 84-249 will be rebuilt into a space elevator. It will be capped by an emporium, excepting those ships that are too heavy to land on the surface. That's an interesting upgrade. So is that a -2 route cost across the board? So if I wanted to jump to those distant systems, it would only cost us 1 instead of 3? I thought I would go with Restoration, though. Even though it does cost 1 profit factor, I'm not thrilled about that. We get +1 complacency, efficiency, and security for all colonies. And 3 people. This costs us 1 provision. That blocks the other 2 projects. That's okay. Now we can check in with the Cogitator, since we found that other data slate. We get the Jukari Clave. Oh, we did hit 15. Alright, so we get the Condensed Carapace. 42% armor. Dodges 34% of average enemy attacks, and 32% average damage reduction. The wearer's critical hit chance in melee combat is increased by a percentage based off their agility bonus. And base armor property plus 10% dodge against human enemies. So after a certain point, I don't think he needs more critical hit chance. He just needs more critical damage. The tech priest by the cogitator nods curtly. The sacred mechanism is awake. You're ready to receive your request, Lord Captain. Hand the Dargonus data bank to the tech priest. Access the data from Dargonus. With reverent trepidation, the tech priest accepts the device from your hands and places it inside one of the drives, all the while honoring the machine with modulating binaric prayer. The turbines within the cogitator stir into motion, and the vid screen lights up. Input, pack, comp, nom os stab true, stat, check, initiate, nom os, epitaph, status initiated, data reg 0924558847. The tech priest extracts the data slate from the cogitator and gives it to you. The machine spirit has revealed the contents of the encrypted data, and I hereby pass it to you. This is where I reach the limit of my authorization, but you now have the option to review the decrypted data personally. Oh, so you got Theodore von Valancius's personal notes. Struggle to say Valancius's. There we go. The data bank and decryption procedure has been completed without conflict. The tech priest stops short. The green lights of his visor, fixed on the cogitator's vid screens, flicker nervously. Strings of numerical code begin appearing with frightening speed. This time the numbers are interspersed with words you can understand. Those words form legible sentences. Input, unpack comp, nom os true. Epitaph brought her to the beginning. 84569. Nom os analysis, status initiated. 4257. Epitaph begot the incident, that which destroyed. A stat check, initiate, and changed everything. The incident became the starting point. 542361. Input, unpack comp, nom os analysis, status initiated. The incident breathed life and marked the beginning of all. 5476. It marked the beginning of Nomos. 2356. Nom os. It created Nomos. The tech priest, now alarmed, is tapping the keys on the control panel. His binaric prayer gives way to distress whispering. Unacceptable deviation. Violation of the sacred protocols. Possibility of tech heresy. Omnissiah, shield us from all heresy. A few moments later, the vid screens darken and flicker to life again. Input prompt, nom os algorithm 52136. What was that just now? The imperfections of Vox transmission make the tech priest's voice sound even more worried. A catastrophic mistake. A heinous violation of the purity of the hallowed code. This mechanism is touched by heresy. It is branded and tainted by it. Now the machine spirit produces code as before, and yet... Lord Captain, heed my plea. All operations on this machine must be halted until the Engineer Prime has inspected it. I saw a word among the lines of code. Nomos. What does it mean? That is a mystery to me. If this mechanism is truly tainted, then... could it be? The tech priest mechadendrite jitters anxiously over the control panel. If heresy truly has taken hold of this machine spirit, and scorned the Omnissiah's every tenet, then the spirit's madness could be such that it has chosen a name for itself. But that is nothing more than my hypothesis. So I'm wondering if there is an AI on this ship. Or a dormant AI. AI is banned in the Imperium because of the Dark Age of technology and the Men of Iron. That's a whole bucket of lore we're not going to get into right now. At least not yet. Alright, you will report this to Pascal. Tech Priest bows guiltily. His mechanical voice becomes hollow and dejected. My knowledge is insufficient to cleanse the code of this mechanism. I'll inform the esteemed Engineer Prime of this disturbing development. Only he has the power to expel the heresy from this corrupted machine spirit. Alright, Theodora von Valancius's personal notes. Data deleted, entry damaged. So assume rogue trader like a lackey. It is humiliating and dispiriting to put up with a part of an errand servant to an imperious madman vested with even greater power than that of any rogue trader. Alas, when one side of the scales holds my pride, the other the fate of the von Valancius Protectorate and my entire bloodline, choice becomes a futile illusion. It'd be far too naive of me not to prepare for the worst. Epitaph will decide the future of the Expanse as a whole, but I have some time at my disposal until then. Heirs with the Von Valancius blood in them will soon be located and brought to me. I cannot afford to delay the choice of successor any longer. Let's check in with Pascal.
The Omniscient knows all, comprehends all. May your...
Alright, nothing new there yet. Alright, this is new. The clan servicing the cooling systems have reported an incident of sorcery. The shadows in the cabins and corridors are coming to life. The voidsmen say they see strange writhing things lurk in nooks and crannies at the edge of their vision. If they look away, things spread over the room, gnawing on everything in their path and attacking the weak and infirm. The strange creatures cannot be caught. It is almost as if they sense they are being watched and sink into the many cracks between the machines and bulkheads. Order that the monsters be banished with faith and prayer. Oh, we failed. The Ecclesiarchy mission on board the void ship held sermons in every corner of the haunted chamber. The rituals failed to produce a result, however, and the cursed creatures kept pestering the crew until the ship exited the warp, dealing a serious blow to morale. We just gained 4 profit factor, though. Alright, got a couple things to do. We have to go to Foulstone and deal with this. The reaping is complete. And that's where we stop. At least for now. Kiava Gamma. A Lord Captain. A strange anomaly has been detected on Kiava Gamma. A series of orders, defined as Procedure 0-C, force itself into the production algorithms. The servants of the Omnissiah define its execution status as most sacred, and therefore follow its instructions impeccably. In just one cycle, cameras are erected in all the manufactorums, connected by the computing channels of the cogitators. They make a pattern similar to those applied to the digital cells of the machine spirits. The 0-C procedure commands Magi with an above-average psi receptivity index to enter the cells. Those tech priests who took their seats in the cells fall into a blissful data dream, where they listen to the binaric hymns very similar to those that periodically whirred from the warp vox of Cubus Delphum. The performance of the manufactorums has dropped. Many of the machine god's servants have abandoned their posts and are pleading for the privilege of fulfilling Procedure 0-C, but the enforcers have taken custody of the cells and ward these volunteers away from them. What do we know about this procedure? Could it be part of Delphum's legacy? We cannot trace the source of the signal that activated it or figure out what it means. The tech priests oppose the idea of researching the procedure, as it violates the sacrament. Supposedly, the minds of the Magos immersed in the cells are involved in some grand-scale computation. The servants of the Omnissiah have tested the cogitational network 7 times with purifying algorithms, of varying degrees of severity, proclaiming it clean. Perhaps my advisors have a few words to share. Are they singing? It is surprising that your race was able to achieve such a harmonious form of interaction with man-made tools. My kinsmen also use psychoacoustic harmonicas to guide our creations. I'm not a bone singer myself, but I might be able to tell your servants of certain principles regarding how the universe sounds. See, bone singers, they manipulate Wraithbone with song, with music. And that's how they build all the Eldari structures. I find this sacrilegious suggestion to be in breach of the Data Unity Protocol. A signal seemingly from nowhere that has the highest execution priority. A perfect weapon for capturing the planet. It should be anathematized, and I'm ready to summon a cadre of competent Texorcists from the Inquisition. So running it gives us -1 efficiency, but also armor refraction. So this carapace grants the wearer +1 deflection and +10% armor if the wearer has moved during their turn, and +2 deflection against human enemies. And earlier it gives us secrets of ancient cybersmiths and Eldari machine taming. So all allies deal % more energy and machine damage based off their logic. And Eldari machine training, all allies gain +10 lower Xenos, and +% dodge reduction against Xenos, based off their lower Xenos. Seen that. Heinrichs. Necron creatures. Once again verifies that Necron will be in the game at some point. Yeah, then we'll go with option 6. Heinrichs. I'll be grateful to the Inquisition for the help with eliminating the procedure. I did really want that armor though, but this does sound like corruption. I'm familiar with the gifts of the Omnissiah, and I prepared several specialists for the Lord Inquisitor's retinue. There will not be any problems. Execution of the poorly understood procedure 0-C was forbidden. In their efforts to root out its directives and remove the Magi from the chambers, the Rogue Trader servants faced resistance, resulting in bloodshed and death. However, the Texorcists of the Inquisition who arrived on the planet tempered the anger of the Omnissiah servants by confirming the legitimacy of the Lord Captain's actions. And we can do no more projects right now. Alright, restoration is complete on Dargonus. Now we can do... any of these. So we get all the people from Dargonus, it looks like. And these first 3 don't block out other projects. Alright. So we have Filth of the Expanse and Shield of the Emperor. We'll probably do Shield of the Emperor. Sounds more thematic. But Filth of the Expanse, more and more ships arrive in orbit around Dargonus. The reduction of duties and the reining in of customs will allow the black market to flourish, able to compete directly with Footfall. Get the Master Raider feature, plus 20% scrap for winning space battles. And Reputation with Fellowship of the Void, which we need for these, or one of these, I think, sorted goods. But Shield of the Emperor. More and more ships arrive in orbit around Dargonus. The agreement with the Navy allows the deployment of a permanent dock for void ships and repositories. I don't think there's really an option here. This is what we're going to go with. Lord Captain's void ship gains the Pirate's Bane feature. Plus 5% to critical hit chance against pirates. Escort ship. The Rogue Trader's flagship is escorted by an armed frigate. Oh, they both provide that. But obviously, as a Imperial citizen, we're going to go with the... sorry, a loyal Imperial citizen. We're going to go with the Imperial Navy option. It gives us 5,000 reputation with the Imperial Navy, plus 1 security for all colonies, and times 4 weapons. Lord Captain, we received a report from Dargonus. Some common folk from the now ruined Scipione 84-249 have succumbed to the heresy of defiance. Forming into engine vandal gangs, they now ride among the wasteland on the wasteland adapted cleaning Goliaths. They've declared themselves outside of the law, raiding the hive's outskirts only to escape retribution in the toxic wastelands. Many of them did not want to obey your more than equitable decision to send them to the restoration site of Scipione, and thus they have fled the labor settlements, committing the heresy of disobedience. Rumor has it that the Brigadier clan, in charge of debris removal in the ruins of Scipione, keep in contact. We could pass on your words to the renegades via the Brigadiers, or force them to disclose the locations of the rebels' nomadic camps. But what is this Brigadier clan? This is a union of the workers and the technomats who have been working on the lower levels of Scipione, small-scale bosses of the watches and the shifts, useful common folk who have proved their worth with diligent labor and valuable knowledge. Of course, they stand much lower than the esteemed trader, let alone the aristocrats, but the common folk heed their kin, and the Brigadiers have both the authority and the ability to manage them. The Scipiones keep to themselves, but the Brigadiers have not shown any signs of disloyalty. They were the first to volunteer to return to the ruins of Scipione's 84-249 and set up the debris removal project. They are certainly useful and are accustomed to praising the Emperor through their labor. Moreover, their grief at the loss of their home and the resilience with which they have accepted it made them to appear like heroes and martyrs in the eyes of other commoners. How do they survive in the wastelands? And why do they decline my rule? This is a rather uncomfortable way of life, your lordship. They must always be wary of acid rain and hurricanes, moving a decent distance from the hives if they do not plan on raiding at that moment. They get their food from the abandoned outposts, paying for it with the lives of those killed by autonomous security systems. Water and promethium are rationed very strictly. They live by marauding, an occasional hunt and plundering, sometimes their own kin, and sometimes the outskirts of the hives. They're a tribe of degenerates and barbarians that is rapidly developing its own clan culture. The civilized residents of the hives shoot the scum any chance they get. I wish to hear what my advisors have to say. If the engine vandals have managed to tame the ancient machine spirits, then that means there are technomats or even tech priests among their ranks. That renders them negotiable. It would be efficient to utilize such renegades instead of disposing of them. A promise of reward for every piece of technology found in the wastelands of Dargonus. Return back to Dynasty will ensure their obedience and tractability. If you wish to exterminate them, Elentok, do not waste your time on hunting them down. Instead, deceive them into defeating each other with a prize, a weapon or a trophy that they can fight for. After the Monkai are finished slicing each other up for the right to obtain it, you warriors shall finish the deed. This tactic proves itself to be very useful against your kind. The aristocrats of Dargonus despise them, but are also secretly afraid of them, correct? Renegades that can invoke such fear. I wonder, if I had exiles like this on my home, would they have curbed the ambitions of my brothers and sisters? Would they have supported me in case of conflict? Oh, I am scheming and conspiring right now, am I not? Bravo, Lady Cassia. Do not be ashamed of the unique abilities bestowed upon you by your heritage. They are your birthright. Wasteland Generator. Oh, Rogue Trader gains 1 movement point. Wasteland Twister. I don't like any of these options. Actually, Irliot's is probably the best option. We don't want renegades on our planet, especially our capital planet. We shall follow Irliot's advice, as much as I abhor the idea of following Xenos' advice. Let us spread rumors about certain valuables in the possession of the Vandals. When they are done fighting among themselves, we shall conduct a raid and finish them off. It would be strange to teach you the methods we employ to fight against you. A rumor about a heavy weapon shipment getting lost somewhere between two hives had been spread among the Engine Vandals' clans. A fight for the 7 armored trucks has broken out in the wastelands, rumored to have cargo that would provide enough firepower to break through the defenses of any hive. When the depleted winners had finally cut open the truck's lining, the only thing waiting there for them was a squad of enforcers, arranged by 3 cycles of sitting in tight, dark spaces. The tribe's best warriors have died in the slaughter. Survivors were taken in by the Brigadier clan. More workers are always needed for rebel removal. It will be years before the Engine Vandals' numbers replenish, and they can pose a threat once again. That's going to do Genetic Mercy. The genetic purges will be stopped. This world needs working hands. We get ×4 people. Emergency aboard the Void Ship, with a small typo there. A foul warp entity has pierced the thin veil of the Geller field to spawn unimaginable beasts of unnatural hues. The Vox systems are picking up the crewman's screams and the warp fiend's loathsome giggling. The situation demands immediate intervention. The Rogue Trader and his retinue will personally go and face these contemptible foes. Like always. Also, the power sword we get from the event we just selected, or took care of, might be an upgrade for Abelard. His damage is starting to fall off a little bit.
Your heresy ends here.
It will be done.
Don't let your guard down.
My vow is to serve. Running binaric override.
I can do that, with the right incentive.
Flesh is weak, yet iron knows no pain.
I was gonna do this. Got a very poor chance of hitting. Also, where's he running off to?
Faith without deeds is worthless. Eradicated. Power resides in the will of the righteous. As the Emperor commands, I act.
Running gun action here, and that.
This is why I was chosen!
How do I want to do this?
But of course, Lord Captain. For the throne's glory, nothing stands against me. Let's see to it.
My faith shields me! Pain cleanses the body!
I won't compromise my principles. I'll see to it personally.
Naturally. Nothing stands against me.
Not quite enough. Alright.
My place is at the fore. Victory is imminent. It will be done.
I'm actually gonna hold on to my momentum until Dai's turn.
The Omniscient knows all, comprehends all. Damage is negligible.
Tell me, and it is done. I can do that, with the right incentive. Watch my back. Jai Hedari. Remember the name. Am I getting paid for this?
Worth a shot.
I'll do it.
Rookies!
Doubt is for the weak.
Alright, we're doing just fine.
But of course, Lord Captain. Everyone, step aside. The Inquisition sends their regards. Let's see to it. Be gone!
As though he has range that far, right? Right.
What is a ring?
I always have a backup plan.
I'm not injured. I'm enraged.
That wasn't too bad. Wasn't that many enemies, just the pink horrors like this. Split into two when you take them out. Alright, so there's something about Langren's belt, wasn't there? Also, we have a contract. A couple that we can do. That'd be worth it. So we need adamantine. We'll hunt that down next time as well. We have, what, 11 extractiums currently? But while we have 7... That takes 12. While we have 7 people, let's go ahead and do Unquenchable Greed. Rogue Trader has been contacted by a high-ranking administratum official who previously helped with reclaiming a relic of St. Cognatus from House Torda. He enjoyed the generous bribes and would like some more. In exchange for the riches requested, he promises that an error will creep into the administratum's calculations, so that all provisions from the agri-world of Mercus Alpha will be shipped to Dargonus instead of the Navy's orbital fortress of Dargonus II. I'm gonna do both. Lugnalia's Crusade. Prelate Lugnalia of the Order of the Hammer intends to bring throngs of armed pilgrims to worlds that currently serve as the resting places of St. Cognatus' relics, and reclaim these objects in the name of the faith, by force if necessary. With the hand of Evolius. After a successful attack, these gauntlets grant the wearer a 50% chance to inflict the bleeding effect on enemies that fail a toughness test. And if the wearer has dogmatic adherent, the test is made with a -20 penalty. So what does he currently have? I like that a little more, I think. Yeah, keep that as is. Alright, I'm going to call it here, and next time, we'll make our way to Telecos Epsilon and deal with Janus, and we'll look for a system that has adamantine, like System Speculo. There's quite a few. I know we've gone past a fair bit of adamantine. We only need 3, so... Oh, and one more thing. We gained some profit factors. Let me check in with this guy before I forget. Alright, we gained 5,000 reputation with this guy from that one project, so we have a bunch of stuff. Another Stygies Pattern Macro Battery. Which is not as good as the Hecutor Pattern Plasma Battery. The Melted Torpedoes is an upgrade. We have an Archaeotech Macro Battery. Short-range broadside macro cannons, which fire 4 shots, dealing 27 damage per shot. That's what, 25... 108. That's an upgrade. Take that. And another Hecutor Pattern Plasma Battery. I own this sword. I want to test or see if that's better on Abelard. So real quick, do a little bit more housekeeping. So it's actually worse than the Power Claymore. in some regards. It has better armor penetration. I mean, I don't know. I tend to value minimum damage more than max damage. We're going to use it anyway. Because minimum damage is guaranteed, where max damage you have to get max damage to take advantage of it. And then real quick, yeah, let's do void ship management and also colony management real quick. Otherwise, I may forget next time. So the Sunhammer Lance Battery does more damage, but with less range. I think I'm going to go with that anyway. I want more damage. Well, see, it's saying it does the same amount of damage. Oh, that's a dorsal weapon. Never mind, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Yeah, I think more damage is more valuable here. Oh, we can upgrade too. Let's do this real quick. So we get an ultimate ability. I like boarding party. We've read all these before. Also like maximum overdrive. But I'm going to do boarding party. The flagship launches a boarding party to infiltrate an enemy's ship, starting internal fires and possibly causing engine damage that cripples the ship for 1 hour. Sorry, 1 round. I don't know why it said 1 hour. Actually, you know what? Let's do maximum overdrive instead, because we got that upgrade for the ram ability, where it causes internal fires already. And this increases our ram damage. So until the end of combat, the flagship speed is increased by +2, and its maneuverability is increased by +1. The bonus damage dealt by Void Ship Ram based on the distance traveled is increased by 100%. Duration, 1 round for every 10 points in the Master Maneuver's athletic skills. Oh, we get 2 ultimates. Oh, in that case, boarding party as well. And then colony management real quick. We'll do decree on diligence. Issuing this decree will significantly tighten production quotas, dooming laggards to being processed into corpse starch, which will encourage the most diligent servants. Requires 3 people, but we get well, -2 complacency, +2 efficiency, and ×3 provisions. We're getting a lot of people. Close to the what we need for blood and Nephium. Alright. Enough housekeeping. I'm going to call it here. Next time, try to head to Janus. We may be able to finish that 1 contract as well. If we get 2 more people. Well, it might be 5 more, right? Because I just spent 3. Unless it was at 13 and it went down to 10. I'll remember when I looked at how much we had. It was before or after that project. But either way, I'm going to call it here for now. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you guys in the next one.